Okay, so we're going to be simplifying expressions. The first one is square root of negative 25. So to do that, you need to break away the negative, and then you're going to take the square root of 25. The square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of negative 1 is I. And I'm done. The next step, example 2, we have the square root of negative 3 times the square root of negative 8. You're going to multiply them out, and that now becomes a positive. And then to simplify it more, you need to look for the biggest perfect square that can get in there. So in this case, it's going to be 4 times 6. Take the square root of 4, I take the square root of 6. Square root of 4 is 2, and square root of 6, I just let it be. Last but not least, we need to be able to simplify expressions like so. So we have 3 plus square root of negative 8 all over 9. I'm just going to leave the 3. And then the square root of negative 8, I'm going to do in red. So square root of negative 8 is going to be broken into square root of negative 1 times square root of 8. Well, negative 1 is I. In square root of 8, we look for the biggest perfect square. So that'll be 4 and 2. Square root of 4, square root of 2. That becomes 2 square root of 2. And then we're going to include the I. So this becomes 3 plus 2I square root of 2 all over 9. Now I know 3 and 9 can be divided by 3, but since 2 can't, you leave it alone. 2. Alright, now we're going to be multiplying complex numbers. So I like to use the box method. And in the box method on the top, I'm going to write 7 plus 2I. And on the side, I'm going to write negative 3 minus 4I. You can also do this as the distribution. This box method is just to help you out visually. So 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. Negative 3 times 2I is negative 6I. Negative 4I times 7 is negative 28I. Negative 4I times 2I is going to be negative 8I squared. So now I'm going to write it out. So negative 21 minus 6I minus 28I minus 8I squared. Well, I can combine these. So that gives me negative 21 minus 34I minus 8I squared. Now, as a reminder, I squared, and we've done this before, I squared is equal to negative 1. So this becomes negative 21 minus 34I minus 8 times negative 1. And I'm just going to keep going to simplify it. That becomes a plus 8. And then I combine these. So that's going to be negative 13 minus 34I. Okay, so in this one we're dividing complex numbers. So the first problem we have is 7 plus 3I over I. So in order for it to get rid of the I in the denominator, I need to multiply I on the top and on the bottom. So that results to be 7I plus 3I squared all over I squared. Now just as a reminder, I squared is equal to negative 1, so now we're going to replace it. So that's 7I plus 3 times negative 1 all over negative 1. This reduces to 7I minus 3 over negative 1. And then I can change the sign, so that's 7I plus 3, and I'm done. Excuse me, negative 7I plus 3. Okay, now this is the hardest one it's going to be for dividing. So we have 3 plus 5I over 7 minus 2I. So in order for us to get rid of the denominator, we need to multiply by the conjugate. So the conjugate in this case is going to be 7 plus 2I on the top, and I'm going to multiply 7 plus 2I on the bottom. In the numerator, we have to distribute, so we need to do the box method for the top, and we need to do the box method for the bottom. So I'm going to do that on the left. So we have here, we have 3 plus 5I, and then we have 7 minus 2I. So 3 times 7 is 21, 7 times 5 is 35I, negative 2I times 3 is negative 6I, negative 2I times 5I is negative 10I squared. So I'm still doing the numerator, so I'm going to write 21 plus 35I minus 6i minus 10i squared. We can combine these. So that's 21 plus 29i minus 10i squared. Well, remember that I squared is equal to -1, so now it's 21 plus 29i minus 10 times -1. So I'm just going to keep going with that. Plus 10, so that becomes 31 plus 29i. So that's my numerator. Now we need to do the denominator, so I'm going to do that. So that's going to be 7 minus 2i, and 7 plus 2i. So 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times -2i is -14i. 2i times 7 is positive 14i. -2i times positive 2i is -4i squared. So this becomes 49 minus 14i plus 14i minus 4i squared. These cancel. So now we have 49 minus 4i squared. We can replace I squared with -1. So this becomes 49 plus 4, which is 53.